Call Don now, 682-1270. News Talk 1270 KIML.
News Talk 1270 KIML. Don Carpenter Show. Welcome back at 7:35, and we're going to go right to the phones, and we have a special guest, one of the founders of the Federalist, Sean Davis. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure, and we're going to talk a little bit about something that it kind of broke during my show yesterday, and I talked about it for a few minutes, but I didn't really have all the information, didn't get a chance to watch the whole video until after my show. But the latest Planned Parenthood video was released yesterday, and this is such disturbing stuff. First off, why don't we talk a little bit about your background before we get into the video itself?
All right. Well, so I co-founded the Federalist back in September of 2013. It's a conservative online news magazine. We cover culture, politics, religion. Before that, I worked at the Daily Caller. I worked for a nonprofit investigative journalism outfit. Used to work on Capitol Hill, worked on some campaigns. So I have a bit of a history in politics and in online media.
Okay, so this is obviously you've seen pretty much all ends of the spectrum, from the journalism side, from the congressional side as well, and you work for Governor Perry too. So you've been exposed to groups like Planned Parenthood for quite a while, and you kind of know how they operate, I guess.
Right, and Planned Parenthood right now is kind of operating exactly like you would expect. They got busted now in 2 videos. I'm sure there's going to be more coming out, haggling over the prices of body parts from aborted babies. And it's very clear in federal law that the purchase, sale of human organs, any sort of trafficking of human organs for a price, is illegal. A Brooklyn man in 2011 was convicted for trafficking human organs. And it appears in these videos that process is exactly what these Planned Parenthood executives are doing. They are negotiating over the prices that they can get for aborted baby organs. And naturally, the organization, Planned Parenthood, is terrified by the effect that the scandal is going to have on them. So they are doing their best, and they're getting their media allies to either mischaracterize their remarks, mischaracterize the law, or if they're really lucky, not even report on it at all.
Well, I certainly haven't seen a whole lot of coverage in the mainstream media, as we like to call it. The responses from Planned Parenthood and their media surrogates are very interesting. It seems like it's almost the same thing as the first time. And the first time we heard all of these excuses. Oh, it's an edited video. Then the full video was released. Then they started attacking the group, the group that released the video, and Center for Medical Progress. It seems like that's going to be the plan of attack for this latest video. They're going to try to link this Center for Medical Progress with other groups. I mean, is there any legitimacy to their claims at all?
Well, no, I think the claims are irrelevant. Okay, that what happens in the video is Planned Parenthood executives haggling over the prices of aborted baby body parts. Now, unless the people who made this video went in and kidnapped the Planned Parenthood executives, drugged them, pumped them full of truth serum or something to make them say things they didn't want to say, got them on camera, and then had them say that, I'm not sure I care who the group behind it is. Because so far, Planned Parenthood hasn't said, no, those weren't our executives, no, that never happened, no, that was staged. They haven't denied the veracity or the authenticity of the videos at all. And that's the real problem here. If you're on video sipping wine and eating beet salad while talking about how much you're going to pay for an aborted baby liver, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the person on camera and worry a lot less about the person behind it.
Well, and I'm glad you mentioned that these are executives. These aren't low level. It's not like it's an orderly or somebody that disposes of. These are high level. The first video was their director of medical, I believe, the national director of medical, and then This latest one was Dr. Mary Gatter, and she's medical director for the Planned Parenthood in Los Angeles. So these are high ups.
Right, and right now, Mary Gatter, the woman who says, I want a Lamborghini, after she names the prices for she wants for baby parts, she's the director of Planned Parenthood Los Angeles right now. But when that video was filmed, she was the top doctor overseeing all Planned Parenthood medical officers. So it's not even like they're just plucking one or two bad apples from various Planned Parenthood affiliates and then tarring the organization with the actions of these just random kind of people in far-out affiliates. No, these are people at the very top of the Planned Parenthood food chain. They're executives. They're not nobodies. And so what Planned Parenthood wants to do is they just want people to think, oh, well, the folks who tape this video are mean, so don't pay attention to anything on it. And the reason they're doing that is that you can't actually defend anything that happens in these videos. It's so vile, it's so depraved and barbaric. They just have to hope beyond hope that people don't actually read the transcripts or watch the video. Because if they do, it becomes very clear the true gruesome nature of the abortion procedure that these people are performing.
Well, and I've even seen some people on the pro-choice side of things that have been disgusted by this. They have no idea. It's almost like Planned Parenthood has existed for all these years, and I'm sure you know the history of why and how Planned Parenthood was founded. It's almost like they've existed all of these years portraying themselves as some kind of benevolent benefactor of the neighborhood, and it's completely the opposite. I mean, I'm surprised it's taken this long for how vile this group is to come out.
Well, you're exactly right, and it says a lot about what Planned Parenthood does, that it and all of its allies have to resort to word games and euphemisms to hide what they actually do. If you pay close attention to what they say, they'll never actually say abortion. They'll talk about women's health. They don't refer to it as a baby. It's a fetus. And if it's an early enough stage, it's not even a fetus. It's a clump of cells. They're not baby organs. It's human tissue. They're not aborted baby parts. It is fetal remains. This entire industry, which is what it is, it's an industry that whose revenue model is dead babies. This entire industry sits on a foundation of silly word games that are meant to mask the true nature of what they do, which is going in and butchering perfectly healthy, viable, wonderful, God-created little babies, chopping them up, and then selling their spare parts for cash.
Well, and all you have to do is go back and look every single time there's been an attempt to change the cutoff point, 20 weeks or 30 weeks, or every time that point moves back, they are at the head of the people screaming about women's rights and all this kind of stuff, when in fact it's just all about an earlier ban on abortions would just cut into their bottom line, and that's what it comes down to.
Well, that's exactly right, and I think that became clear over the last week that the abortionists' opposition to late-term abortion bans doesn't really spring from a care for women's health, because late-term abortion is actually very, very risky for the mother. They don't like the late-term abortion bans because it restricts the supply of organs that they can harvest and sell. And you can see in this video with Gatter a total disregard for women's health. In one exchange, she says, we're technically not allowed to alter the medical procedure we use to abort a baby just so we can get some organs. Altering the procedure and the standard of care would be a violation of patient protocol. That's a direct quote from her. But she waves that away and says, you know what, that's a specious little argument. I'm going to go ask our abortionist in Pasadena or L.A. if he wouldn't mind altering it and using a different method of suction so that we can have a higher probability of harvesting these organs for later sale. It's not about women's health. It's about the money.
Well, and in the first video, specific methods were discussed as far as keeping certain parts intact. I mean, if they have a need for livers, they make sure you don't crush the midsection and all that. So I mean, this stuff. I mean, you couldn't even a year ago, you would ask me if somebody would catch Planned Parenthood on video selling body parts. Even I would have said no. I mean, I didn't think they would be, that blatant about it, but they really just don't care, do they?
Oh, I know. If you were a screenwriter and you came up with a screenplay with a bunch of abortionists sipping wine and eating fava beans and having beet salad while talking about how they need to increase the price of aborted baby livers so they could go buy Lamborghinis, you would get laughed out of Hollywood for having a premise that's completely ridiculous and not believable. And yet, that's exactly what we see in these videos.
Well, it kind of goes to show you that the whole Kermit Gosnell story wasn't that unusual. No,
and that's the fear, and that's what has really horrified so many pro-lifers and people who understand the true nature of what abortion is. What scares us is not that Kermit Gosnell was the exception, but that he may actually have been the rule. This is a man who cut up babies and then put baby parts in his freezers. At the time, the belief was that he used them as trophies, but for all we know, he may have just been trying to sell them. Because in the first video with Deborah Nucatola, the top medical officer for Planned Parenthood, she specifically mentions that, they're in the market for lower extremities of aborted babies.
It's just unbelievable. I know we only have a couple minutes left. I know you have some more appointments. But I just wanted to quickly touch on the other end of this equation, this company called STEM Express. Now, they've gone on complete blackout. They took their website down. They're not saying anything about this. Is there any chance of that company being, part of this investigation?
Oh, I think every company that was involved in this entire supply chain, from bringing the women in, conducting the abortions, harvesting the organs, arranging their sale, transporting the organs, I think every company that's involved in that may well be in legal jeopardy. Because like I said, the federal law is clear. A man was convicted on the law in 2011. You cannot purchase or sell human organs, period. Any human tissue. You cannot be purchasing and selling, like it's a car down at CarMax.
Well, I mean, do you honestly expect this Department of Justice to do anything about it? I mean, I imagine the statute of limitations is long enough that maybe the next Department of Justice might be able to do something, but I can't imagine this one doing anything about this.
Oh, I'm with you. Somebody asked me on Twitter last week, well, isn't this organ trafficking illegal? And I responded, well, yeah, but so is running guns to Mexican drug cartels.
Oh, yeah.
And destroying email servers that are under federal subpoena. So, no, I don't have a whole lot of faith that the U.S. Department of Justice is going to go after this, but there are a whole bunch of state laws at play here. And even at the federal level, you may just have a U.S. attorney who says, enough, I've had enough with this, I'm going after it, I don't care if Obama's attorney general gives me the blessing or not. So we'll see.
Yeah, well, it'll definitely be interesting to see. I mean, on one hand, I want to see the next video. On the other hand, I'm horrified to think what could, because they just keep getting worse and worse.
Oh, I know. I felt sick to my stomach yesterday when I was reading through the transcript. I mean, it just, the depravity and the barbarity of it just makes you want to cry. We're unfortunately continually reminded by of the human capacity for evil. And while I want us to be able to unmask and eventually shut down this kind of nonsense, it makes my heart hurt seeing all this stuff and actually seeing the reality of the evil that's being committed.
Well, I mean, the best we can do is shine the light on it. I want to thank you again, Sean Davis from the Federalist. How can people find you online?
They should go to thefederalist.com, and they can get all our content there. We keep churning out a bunch of great stuff on Planned Parenthood and its allies and media, so I'd encourage your listeners to go to thefederalist.com.
Okay, well, thank you so much, and hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to you soon.
I'd love that. Thank you for having me.
Thanks a lot. There you go, Sean Davis from The Federalist, thefederalist.com. We got to take a break. We'll be right back. News Talk 1270, KIML.
Basin Radio News, Fox News, Cowboy State News.
More more news than you can shake a stick at.
Don Carpenter on News Talk 1270 KIML. 1270 KIML. 1270